Have you noticed when we exercise we feel completely different? Like our body goes into a different mode. What actually happens to our body during exercise? What processes take in it that we feel completely different? Hi friends, I'm Ibra, and in this video we will dig deep to understand and answer these questions. So watch this video until the end, it will be very interesting. Subscribe to my channel, click on the bell, and let's go.
Point number 1. One of the most dramatic and noticeable changes that occur in our body is the acceleration of the metabolism. The exercises that we perform increase the expenditure of energy to compensate for these costs. Our body begins to assimilate and process it much faster. Next point, a change in breathing. Because our metabolism accelerates, we also need more oxygen. And how to feel the need for oxygen? Of course, we automatically begin to breathe more frequently and deeply. Remember how you gasped when you last ran on a treadmill? During an intense workout, your body needs up to 15 times more oxygen than in a relaxed state. Just think about this figure, 15 times. Next point, the cardiovascular system. Once we start breathing more of this same oxygen, it needs to be delivered to the muscles of our body. That's why the heart speeds up its work. It needs to deliver nutrients to our muscles, so they start working. The body temperature. Strange as it may seem, the body temperature rises quite a lot, and if you work out intensively, your body temperature will be, for example, when you are very sick with the flu. Oddly enough, during the flu with a fever, you can't even get out of bed. We feel so bad that we can't move or talk and just lie there. So why do we feel so much more awake when we have the same high temperature during a workout? Because our health doesn't depend on our temperature. During the flu, we feel bad not because of the temperature, but because of the flu, because of the virus that affected our body, and the temperature is only a consequence of our immune system, which fights the disease. So when you raise the temperature during a run and it rose, then you will not feel worse. The next point is especially interesting. It's a change in our brain. And in this organ, from our workouts, there are also very strong changes. It has been proven that regular exercise improves the process of neurogenesis in our brain. Neurogenesis is the formation of new nerve cells. Yes, in our brain, new nerve cells can be formed and not created by physical exercise, and it generally affects our worldview. It improves our mood, oddly enough improves our memory, and even increases our self-confidence and confidence in the future. That is, physical exercise directly affects our psychological state. It's also a prevention of many brain diseases, such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. In addition, endorphins are released in our brains as a result of physical exercise. These are the neuromeditators that are natural painkillers. Oddly enough, physical exercise is actually, we didn't notice it, but it's accompanied by pain. Running is painful, lifting weights is painful, but we don't feel it as much because our brain produces endorphins, natural neurotransmitters that suppress the sensation of pain. They are natural painkillers. That's why after a workout our body hurts, but hurts pleasantly. We feel tired but pleasant fatigue because it's a load and pain, which is compensated by endorphins. That's why people are very often addicted to sports. It's such a pleasant and useful addiction, and in general, there is nothing bad in it, only good. During a workout, our body sweats more. Why does it sweat? It's natural thermoregulation, because we know from physics lessons that the surface from which the fluid evaporates cools, and through the release of fluid, through the sweat glands, the body starts to cool itself. For example, dogs that are covered with the fur don't sweat, and so they cool themselves either with their tongue or with the pads on their feet. Yes, oddly enough, so it's not surprising when a dog is out of breath in the heat begins to breathe very actively with tongue on his side. But in humans all arranged differently. We regulate our temperature across the surface of the skin, but it has a side effect. We lose moisture, which makes our blood much thicker, and thick blood is potentially dangerous. It can lead to blood clots and subsequently to a stroke or a heart attack. That's why it's critically important to monitor fluid levels in the body. It's very important to drink water during intense workouts. There is another very interesting fact. When people find themselves in a desert, this is a really desert where sands are blazed by sun, huge temperature, and absolute dryness. These people oddly enough don't sweat. That is, literally people go under the scorching sun and doesn't feel that he sweats. His skin is absolutely dry and it's very dangerous because in fact he sweats. Just all the moisture that is released through the skin instantly evaporates. Because in conditions of heat and zero humidity, moisture from the skin evaporates the second it appears. And so we are basically dry, we feel as if we are not sweating, maybe we're not so hot, a very dangerous feeling that leads to instant dehydration. That's why people often die in deserts, because they underestimate the degree of their exhaustion and dehydration. So imagine that during training you are like in a desert. It's necessary to replenish moisture, you must drink water. The next point is bones. Physical training at a young age strains our bones. Researchers have even proved that if you do sports before the age of 25, it has a very positive impact on your whole life. You will have much less problems with your joints because regular exercise increases the amount of calcium in our bones. If you did sports at a young age, then you have laid a very serious foundation for the rest of your life.
So friends, write in the comments below, do you do any sports? Maybe you are planning. Anyway, it will be very interesting for me to know. And also it will be very useful for you to watch my other video where I talk about main mistakes in gym. Video have already appeared on your screen. And if you like this video, then press like button and see you on my other videos.